Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed didn't just launch a franchise in 2007, it created an entirely new genre. At a time when almost every studio was making corridor shooters, Ubisoft asked a bold question. What if players could parkour across historical cities and carry out stealth assassinations? The result was revolutionary. You play as Altair ibn Lahad during the Third Crusade in 1191. Once a respected assassin, Altair is demoted due to his arrogance and must redeem himself by eliminating 9 Templar targets. Each assassination raises moral questions. Are these men truly evil, or are they simply following a different ideology? The game's true innovation was social stealth. You could blend into crowds to avoid detection, hide among monks, climb rooftops, and observe your targets from above. This mechanic was so groundbreaking that modern stealth games still build upon it today. Jerusalem, Acre, and Damascus were all handcrafted, with every street designed to feel authentic and alive. The final twist remains iconic. Al-Mualim, your mentor, is revealed to be seeking the Apple of Eden for himself. Altair is forced to kill him, and the apple reveals visions of the Isu, laying the foundation for the franchise's massive mythology. Assassin's Creed 2. Assassin's Creed 2 does something simple and perfect. It takes everything from the first game and improves it in every possible way, while introducing one of the most beloved characters in gaming history, Ezio Auditore da Firenze. The story begins in Florence, 1476. Ezio is the carefree son of a noble family, enjoying life, until everything collapses. His father and 2 brothers are publicly executed by the Templars in front of him. You watch it happen as Ezio, completely powerless. It's one of the most heartbreaking moments in gaming. Ezio's journey begins here. Leonardo da Vinci becomes his ally, crafting new gadgets, a poisoned hidden blade, advanced tools, and even a flying machine. Florence, Venice, Monteriggioni, and Rome are all fully explorable. For the first time, simply moving through a city in a game feels effortless and natural. The game introduces 2 major innovations, an economy system and villa restoration. Ezio earns money, buys shops, and upgrades his family villa. These RPG elements were completely new to the series. The finale takes place in the Vatican. Rodrigo Borgia, the future Pope Alexander VI, attempts to open the vault using a piece of Eden. When Ezio stops him, a hologram of Minerva appears and speaks directly to Desmond. This fourth wall-breaking moment became legendary in gaming history. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. With Brotherhood, Ubisoft showed how to make a perfect sequel. The game begins exactly where AC2 ends. When Ezio returns to Monteriggioni, Cesare Borgia launches an attack. The villa is destroyed, and the Apple of Eden is lost. Ezio travels to Rome, but this time, it's not just about revenge. The game's most brilliant feature is rebuilding the Brotherhood itself. You rescue civilians, train them as assassins, and can summon them at any time to assist you. Rome is presented as a single unified map, the first time the series does this. The Colosseum, Pantheon, and Vatican are recreated with incredible historical accuracy. There are missions where you destroy Leonardo's war machines, including the legendary moment where you blow up Cesare's tank. The game even introduces multiplayer, where players hunt each other while blending into crowds, never knowing who is an NPC and who is a real player. Brotherhood elevates Ezio to the rank of Master Assassin. He becomes the leader. The Apple of Eden is finally secured beneath the Colosseum. In the modern-day storyline, Desmond receives his first true assassin training, and when he uses the apple and kills Lucy, it shocks everyone. Assassin's Creed Revelations. Revelations is both an ending and a beginning for the first 3 games. It concludes Ezio's story, reveals Altair's full life, and, through surreal sequences inside Desmond's mind, becomes the most philosophical game in the series. An aging Ezio discovers a letter written by his father, Giovanni, revealing the existence of Altair's hidden library in Masyaf. Ezio travels to Constantinople, searching for 5 keys needed to open the library. Each key unlocks a flashback from Altair's life. These memories are devastating. We witness the tragedies of Altair's life, his wife Maria, his son Darim, and his other son Seth, who betrays him. Altair becomes obsessed with the Apple of Eden, spends decades studying it, and ultimately seals himself inside the library, where he dies. As Ezio experiences these memories, he feels Altair's pain as his own. Constantinople is breathtaking. Byzantine Templars, Ottoman politics, and new characters like Yusuf Tazim bring the city to life. The hookblade is introduced, adding zipline-style movement along with bomb crafting, divided into 3 categories: lethal, tactical, and diversionary. The most important addition is Sofia Sartor, Ezio's final love, a bookshop owner, intelligent and kind. Ezio is tired, worn down by war, and Sofia represents peace and a life beyond killing. In the finale, Ezio opens the library. Inside, there is only Altair's skeleton and the Apple of Eden. Altair left a message, not for Ezio, but for Desmond. Ezio turns to the camera and speaks directly to him. "I have seen enough for one life. It's a moment so powerful, it still gives chills. Assassin's Creed 3. Assassin's Creed 3 was a bold move by Ubisoft. The series leaves Ezio behind and travels to revolutionary America, and the opening surprises you after nearly 5 hours of gameplay. You begin as Haytham Kenway. Charismatic and skilled, he's on a mission to hunt Templars in colonial America. You play as him for hours, grow attached to him, and then comes the twist. Haytham is the Templar Grand Master. The true protagonist is Connor Kenway. Raised in a Mohawk village, Connor loses his mother in a fire. He becomes an assassin seeking revenge, only to discover the truth. The man responsible is Haytham, his own father. The game introduces major innovations: dynamic weather systems, rain, snow, and storms. Hunting mechanics, allowing you to track and kill wild animals. Tree parkour, perfectly suited to Connor's natural movement. And for the first time, naval combat, so good it became the foundation of the next game. Historical figures are everywhere: George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, Paul Revere. Connor takes part in the Boston Tea Party, Bunker Hill, and Yorktown, placing him directly inside the American Revolution. But the real heartbreak comes in the modern-day story. To stop Juno, Desmond enters the Grand Temple as a solar flare threatens to destroy Earth. To save humanity, Desmond sacrifices himself, touching the energy sphere and dying. The character who carried the first 5 games is gone. An era ends. Assassin's Creed 4. Black Flag. Black Flag is one of the biggest pivots in gaming history. Players loved AC3's naval combat so much that Ubisoft said, "Let's build an entire game around it." The result? One of the best-selling entries in the series. You control Edward Kenway, Haytham's father and Connor's grandfather. Edward isn't an assassin. He's a pirate, and his goal is simple: get rich in the Caribbean. Your ship, the Jackdaw, becomes your home. You upgrade it with stronger cannons, thicker armor, and faster sails. Naval combat is addictive. Devastating broadsides, chain shots to break masts, swivel guns to clear enemy decks. You board ships and fight crews sword to sword. The open world is still breathtaking. Over 50 locations, including Nassau, Havana, and Kingston. You can dive into underwater shipwrecks, hunt for treasure, and escape sharks. Real pirates are everywhere. Blackbeard, Charles Vane, Calico Jack, Anne Bonny, Mary Red, all fully realized characters. Edward drinks with them, fights alongside them, and hunts treasure. But the story is a tragedy. Chasing wealth costs Edward everything. Mary Red dies of typhoid in prison. Blackbeard is executed. Vane loses his mind. In the end, Edward understands the truth. Gold doesn't bring happiness. The game ends with Edward returning to his daughter, older, wiser, and reformed. He becomes Haytham's father, and the Kenway legacy begins. Black Flag proved something important. Sometimes the best Assassin's Creed game is the one with the least assassins. Assassin's Creed Rogue. Rogue is one of the most unique games in the series because, for the first time, you don't play as an assassin. You play as a Templar. Shay Patrick Cormac begins as a colonial assassin, but after a catastrophic disaster, he betrays the Brotherhood and joins the Templars. Rogue acts as a bridge between AC3 and Unity. Shay kills Adewale, Edward Kenway's former quartermaster. He cripples Achilles Davenport, Connor's mentor, and he directly sets up the opening of Unity. Shay is the man who kills Arno's father. The gameplay is similar to Black Flag, but with a twist. Now you are the one being hunted by assassins. New stalker mechanics force you to stay alert, as enemy assassins hide on rooftops and ambush you. This role reversal feels incredible. Shay's story lives in the moral gray zone, showing that the assassins can be just as flawed as their enemies. Haytham Kenway becomes Shay's mentor. The game is short, but its impact is massive. It's one of the most underrated entries in the franchise. Many players never even experienced it. Set during the 7 Years' War, Rogue boldly shifts perspective and succeeds. Assassin's Creed Unity. Unity takes place during the French Revolution and launched in a disastrous state, plagued by bugs. But after patches, it became one of the strongest games in the series, and personally, one of my favorites. After his father is killed, Arno Dorian becomes an assassin. He fights Templars across Paris while navigating a complicated relationship with Elise, the woman he loves, and who is herself a Templar. The game places you directly inside historic events like the storming of the Bastille and the execution of Louis XVI. Unity features the best parkour system in the entire series. Seamless climbing, full upward and downward control. It feels incredible. Paris is astonishingly detailed, with interiors almost everywhere. The game introduced 4-player co-op missions, a first for the franchise, and they were genuinely fun. New weapons like the Phantom Blade were added, and customization became deeper. Unity is often remembered for its technical problems, but once refined, it shines. Arno's story is tragic, yet beautiful. Set during one of France's darkest periods, it's one of the most atmospheric entries in the series, unfairly overlooked. Before we move on to the next game, was any of these one of your favorites? Let me know in the comments. Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Syndicate is set in Victorian London and introduces dual protagonists for the first time, twin assassins, Jacob and Evie Fry. Jacob is aggressive and impulsive, while Evie is more strategic and stealth-focused, and you can switch between them freely. Set in 1868, during the Industrial Revolution, London is ruled by a Templar Grand Master. The Fry twins reclaim the city district by district using gang warfare, forming their own gang known as the Rooks. A zipline launcher speeds up traversal, and landmarks like Big Ben, the Thames, and Buckingham Palace are beautifully recreated. Evie Fry also becomes the first fully playable female protagonist in a mainline Assassin's Creed game, a major milestone for the series. Syndicate stands as the final entry of the classic Assassin's Creed formula, Assassin's Creed Origins. With Origins, Ubisoft completely reinvented Assassin's Creed, turning it into a full RPG. Set in ancient Egypt, the game tells the origin of the Hidden Ones. You play as Bayek of Siwa, seeking revenge for his murdered son while fighting the Order of the Ancients alongside his wife, Aya. Ptolemaic Egypt, 47 BC, is stunning, from the pyramids to the Library of Alexandria. A new modern-day protagonist, Layla Hassan, is introduced, launching a new storyline. Combat is fully redesigned with RPG systems, leveling, loot, and a scouting eagle named Senu. Origins marked a rebirth for the franchise, risky, bold, and ultimately successful. Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Odyssey takes the RPG formula introduced in Origins and expands it even further, and it became another one of my favorite Assassin's Creed games. The story is set in ancient Greece during the Peloponnesian War, with Sparta versus Athens. Your goal is to eliminate the cult of Cosmos. Greece is massive, filled with islands, mountains, and cities. Naval combat returns, and the game leans heavily into Greek mythology, letting you fight legendary creatures like the Minotaur, Medusa, and the Sphinx. Layla Hassan's modern-day story continues, and the Atlantis DLC reveals major truths about the Isu. Odyssey divided the fanbase. Some felt it was too much RPG and not enough assassin, but the game was undeniably successful. Cassandra became a fan-favorite character. Exploring Greece is a joy, and the sheer scale is enormous, with 100+ hours of content. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Valhalla focuses on the Viking invasions. Set in 873 AD, you play as Eivor, who migrates from Norway to England. Eivor is revealed to be an Isu reincarnation, carrying the consciousness of Odin. The game introduces settlement mechanics, allowing you to build and upgrade your base, Ravensthorpe. You launch raids, loot monasteries, and form alliances with various English kingdoms. It fully embraces the Viking fantasy. Valhalla is enormous, perhaps too enormous. The main story alone takes 60 to 80 hours, while full completion can exceed 120 hours. The game received DLC for nearly 2 years and leans heavily into mythological content, even taking players to Asgard. Valhalla was successful but caused burnout for many players. Too much content, too much grind. Still, the Viking theme and Eivor were widely praised. Assassin's Creed Mirage. Mirage returns the series to its roots with a smaller, stealth-focused experience. Set in Baghdad during the Islamic Golden Age, the game follows Basim ibn Ishaq as he rises from street thief to master assassin while struggling with Loki's consciousness. Classic parkour and social stealth return. RPG systems are removed, and progression is fully linear. The modern-day story is minimal, keeping the focus on gameplay. At 15 to 20 hours, Mirage was a refreshing return to the classic Assassin's Creed formula. Assassin's Creed Shadows. Shadows finally takes the series to feudal Japan, set during the 16th century Sengoku period. The game features 2 protagonists, Naoe, a stealth-focused kunoichi, and Yasuke, a real-life samurai who emphasizes direct combat. Each offers a completely different playstyle. With changing seasons and cities like Kyoto and Osaka, the world is visually striking, but the game struggled to meet expectations and quickly faded from the spotlight. So, which Assassin's Creed game was your favorite? You can also watch this video if you want.